tardi, ovviamente va a premiare la terza posizione di Sylvain Poussier, la seconda per Marco Pellegrini. Allora, si avverte tutti coloro che siete qui al Mugello che alle ore 13:51 verrà osservato un minuto di raccoglimento per ricordare la scomparsa del pilota della Regional Milano Vanthof. Tutto ovviamente il Mugello, tutta l'organizzazione rimane vicino comunque alla famiglia di questo giovane ragazzo purtroppo scomparso durante gara 2.
Well, just 1 week on from Spa, we are now bringing you live action from Mugello. Round 5 of the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. And as I said, just 1 week on, one of its most promising drivers from Formula Regional, Delano Vanthof, unfortunately will not be joining us here, but he's with us in spirit as we delve into the heart of this weekend in Tuscany. Many of the drivers out here on track racing for a comrade. That driver, Delano Van Top, of course, being celebrated, celebration of life here at the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, and our deepest sympathies are with that of his friends, his family, and the MP Motorsport team who do not join us here in Tuscany. Also, we have to pass on some thoughts and remembrance as well, obviously, towards that of Delano Van Hoff, but also Adam Fitzgerald, who unfortunately also was hospitalised after the incident in question. And obviously our thoughts are with that of the RPM Motorsport team, who do field cars this weekend as well. But everyone here united at Tuscany, at the heart of Mugello, as we go racing for our 5th round. We will of course be observing a minute of silence here for Delano Van Hoff as we move through the weekend, and that will of course start today.
Davide. Sì.
Folks, a community in unison, obviously off the back of the tragedy, but naturally we as a motorsport community, we are a community. We stand by, of course, the friends and family. Thoughts are with Delano. This race weekend is for Delano. Coming into this weekend, of course, off the back of qualifying and certainly a rampant series of practice sessions, Martinius Stenshorn was the fastest man in Friday practice, taking the top spot. And not only securing that in P1 and FP2, he went on to go fastest again in qualifying. There he is, out on the grid, ladies and gentlemen. And certainly along the front row, alongside Andrea Kimi Antonelli as well. Tim Tramnitz will also sit in behind that of Martinius Stenshorn, but Stenshorn managing to secure certainly a stellar podium position, and once again achieving yet another big number as well, that being of course his 4th pole position his 3rd pole position this season, to join up with the 3 that Tim Tramnitz, his teammate, has also accrued in this championship. Andrea Kimi Antonelli on the front row, still only 1 pole to his name, but certainly nonetheless feisty. A sensational performer up at the sharp end, who has certainly raced against that of Stenshorn all season long in the battle between Prema and that of R-Race GP. There is the Italian, a home race visit yet again, this time for that of Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and he'll be looking for a big start to try and get himself ahead of that of Martinius Stenshorn. But sitting tight as we see the spectators out in an abundance, and we certainly did see some minor raindrops fall just after qualifying. There were certainly some questions as to whether that would carry over into the race. It certainly hasn't. We have actually seen the sunshine beckon its way out. There's Tim Tramnitz, of course, who has previously been a race winner in this championship as well. Did hold the all-time, well, certainly not the all-time, but this season's pole record so far, 3. It's just been levelled by Stenshorn, his teammate, but moving into this weekend has a great chance of yet again clambering onto the front in terms of securing race wins as well. Remember, he did the double back in Barcelona. There's Kaz Havercourt, representing that of Van Amersfoort Racing, a man who's obviously also looking for another podium to add to his name. Van Amersfoort coming into this weekend also in very, very good form. And certainly the umbrellas out in force as well, just trying to protect the drivers from this pretty sensational heat that we have had here. 31.3 degrees out there on track, but the track temperature itself a staggering 53 degrees as well. Not so humid though. It's not necessarily a moisture air certainly in the sky right now, but here are the grid, and Martini Stenchon starting from pole. Alongside him on the front row, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, with Tim Tramnitz on the second row as well, alongside that of Kaz Havercourt as well, who sits in 4th place. Further back then, we do have Maya Burke. Alongside her is Owen Tangavellu, with Joshua Dufek in 7th, Lorenzo Flusha representing Prema in 8th as well. P9, that would of course go to that of Roman Belinsky. Alongside him is Santiago Ramos, once again looking to step up after a very good promising qualifying last week. He once again looked pacey this weekend as well. Rafael Camara alongside those, with Nicole Bora as well just in behind too. Matteo Capietto alongside that of Alessandro Giusti, with Joshua Dirksen and Michael Belov sharing the same row as well in 15th and 16th. 17th place going to Kirill Small, with Lawrence Van Hoopen in 18th as well. Matthias Agazetta lines up in 19th, with Marcus Amann, the Sauber Academy driver, in 20th place. 21st place, that goes to Charlie Wirtz, marking his return after illness last time. Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. joins him on the same row in 22nd. Tom Levin in 23rd alongside that of Levente Ravesh. Enzo Scianti will line up in behind those, the American, alongside that of Giovanni Maschio as well, representing the Monolight Racing team. Niels Coulin will be in behind those two, with Lucas Medina with him too. And in for the weekend, Konsta Lapalainen, who is representing Kick Motorsport, his father's team. And marking a return as well to the Formula Regional European Championship grid order. Of course, we're just waiting now for the cars to make their way out on the formation lap, and we'll be back underway very soon. Sharp end, of course, it is going to be Martini Stenchon, of course, leading rookie this season, current championship leader overall too, with Antonelli currently sat just 5 points behind. It's a very, very tight fight between that of the RSGP and the Prema team. They're very, very close in terms of the championship side, in terms of the teams. 222 points for RSGP coming into this weekend, with Prema Racing just in behind on 205. The question is who's going to take the big result here this time as well. So we now see the cars make their way through this next right-hander as well. The Van Amersfoort 14 are also going to be looking for a major result. Came into this qualifying session certainly with a lot of promise, currently sat down in 4th place. And further back as well, Josh Dufek is also up there and in the mix in the top 10 as well. So you see Lorenzo Flusha also making his way around the circuit. Rafael Camara we also saw there in picture as well. This is just a reminder of the current weather conditions. Obviously in terms of the air, 31 degrees, it's 87 degrees Fahrenheit as well. Track temperature currently sat at a staggering 52, as we alluded to as well. As we now see the RSGP of Stenchon making his way around this circuit. Very technical track here as well around Mugello. Sort of a mishmash. You have got quite an extensive elevation rise and some dips, and certainly the braking zones can be quite testing. Of course, the longest straight being that of the main straight, where a lot of the drivers will look to utilise the push-to-pass system. And obviously to activate that, you need to be over 4th gear at least. You have to be at least 4,000 RPM registering in the car. They get 5 uses of the push-to-pass per race as well, each lasting 15 seconds. So it's all about strategy when it comes to the start of this now, as the cars now line up on the grid. And Stenchon, you're seeing in picture, just getting those bursts into the tyres, just making sure that the temperature is just right. We'll need to marshal in a very strong start to keep Antonelli at bay. It's an R-Race GP and Prema front row. Who will lead heading down in towards turn 1? Will it be a Stenshorn result, or will it go the way of Antonelli? Let's find out. Could be somebody else as well as we wait for the racing here. Still obviously waiting for the rest of the cars to get themselves lined up on the grid. Giovanni Maschio as well getting set, ready for racing. As soon as they've all lined up, we'll then see the flags change to green. Just see them furiously getting the tyres up to temperature here. Supercar lining up, the marshals now picking up the green flags, and we'll await the lights to go red here at Mugello. Here they go, first light, second light, third light, fourth light, and the fifth light. And it's pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go. Certainly away already. It is going to be Martini Stenshorn with a great start as well. Kaz Havercourt getting off the line relatively quickly too. They all run side by side, heading down through towards turn 1. Obviously then they have to certainly plan their braking points. You can see Tim Tramnitz just down the inside, as well as Kimi Antonelli. Certainly splits the difference between that of the Van Amersfoort and that of Tim Tramnitz's R-Race GP as well. But Antonelli holds on to second. Kaz Havercourt and to remain behind Tramnitz, as well as two Premas are going to try and get themselves into the mix as well. That being, of course, Flusha and Kamara. A car dipping into the gravel further back as well. And, they take certainly the outside line. Roman Belinsky as well tying up with Nikhil Bora, who is also up in the mix too. We've now seen Tangavelli as well at the lurch forward. Again, a spring of the gravel as they look to make their way through this next right-hander. You know, look and see the Trident cars make their way through. Still out in front though, it's Stenshorn in front, Antonelli second, Tramnitz in third, Havercourt down the fourth, Meyer Berg as well there in fifth as well, with Dubek in sixth place, Flusha in seventh. Belinsky has moved certainly up into eighth place and is trying to garner a few places. Some battles as well further back, and Ardencar running off wide as well. And that one belonging to Levente Ravesh, who took a bit of a tumble into the gravel, but back onto the track. So now make their way through towards the next right-hander once again. Still at this point though, Stenshorn who leads the way, as the cars now make their way through that middle sector into sector 3 proper. Now Stenshorn starting to advance an advantage of, at this stage, what looks to be around about 7/10. He might have actually nursed out to 1.3 as he looks to try and gain heading through the latter part of this lap, but making their way now through the Bucine corner and down the long straight. Just look at Stenshorn. Already the gap now started to really fly outwards, with Antonelli still in second. Tramnitz just locked in behind as we now start to see some more side-by-side action. Joshua Dirksen under a little bit of pressure as well. Michael Belov trying to get himself into the mix. Oh, a lock-up as well further back as we now see the cars make their way through. Joshua Dufek just lighting up the brakes a little bit there. The RPM also making its way through Santiago Ramos alongside that of Owen Tangavelli. He's got a nose in front, but Tangavelli will have that inside as they head through now towards the, well, through the first into the second sectors to split two. And there we have it. Certainly more scrapping further back as we see Flusha and Dufek come together as well. The Van Amersfoort just having his number, and there's another car off in the back as well. That looks like a Trident as well. That's Owen Tangavelli, who's unfortunately been caught heading through the middle sector and now into sector 3 proper. Unfortunately, has had to try and recover from going off track, but nevertheless, still a very, very tight circuit. The drivers still have plenty of opportunities lying in wait, but you can't afford to make mistakes. We see another car drifting off into the gravel, just flicking up the stones as they now make their way through towards the next right. Marcus Hammond we're currently seeing on screen as well. As representative of the Sauber Driver Academy, he's got Charlie Burtz around him as well, who's obviously fresh off the back of a little bit of illness. They've seen the article, and that was the moment that we saw earlier on. And that being Levente Ravesh, who ended up planting himself into the gravel. And not an ideal set of affairs. But naturally now, Levente Ravesh is going to have to try and pull it all back. His fastest lap is now set by Martini Stenshorn, who's still currently leads the way. Antonelli still in second place, trying to chase. He's now hurdled through this next stride. Joshua Dirksen as well going side by side as they make their way up the hill. And it's got Michael Belloff, Kirill Smile as well, trying to gain as well as they make their way down through towards the next left-hander. Further back, you see Matteo Capietto also trying to get himself into the mix. There is Antonelli. Just look at the gap though, it's really come out. The gap off the lead now at 1.4 seconds. Stenshorn really on a mission. The back of a super qualifying. So looking to follow that up with a successful display here at Mugello. First race here at Tuscany this season in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. Of course, only captured its first Italian winner in this series since 2019. And of course going to Gabriele Mini in race 2. And Antonelli will be looking to try and add another one, certainly to the top of the tree. As we now see Stenshorn still out in the lead, Antonelli in second. Tramnitz still in third, Havercourt in fourth. And Van Amersfoort currently sit now with cars in fourth and sixth. Big points obviously for the team's championship. He's a former race winner as well, Kaz Havercourt, very used to the top step himself. There's Andrea Kimi, Antonelli as well. 1.5 now the gap between that of him and Martinius Stenshorn. Still Stenshorn once again posting fastest laps. He is really well versed to this circuit here at Mugello. As we see Tim Tramnitz as well in behind in third. Could be on the cusp of achieving yet another podium. What's coming into this weekend, Tramnitz currently holding 4 podiums across the championship so far. His teammate Martinius Stenshorn holding 5. An incredible 9 podiums in the last 5 rounds, of course, coming into round 5. So a fabulous display, certainly from the RHGP team. So we now see the cars make their way through this next right-hander. Maya Verk as well, who's certainly delivered a stellar display over the last couple of weeks. Once again back at the top end and in the top 5 as things stand as well, as she now chases after that of Kaz Havercourt, currently sits in 4th place. 5 seconds off the leaders as well, but Stenshorn still working to bolster that advantage over Antonelli. There is such quite a gap in between as well, and going back to that use of push to pass as well, obviously utilised where it comes to defensive driving as well as laying down an attack. And as I said, they get 5 uses per race and 15 seconds of usage, but can only be activated should you be over 4,000 RPM and need to be in at least 4th gear as well. So again, tactical use from these drivers. It's not just about driving fast, but also utilising the tools at your disposal. There is Antonelli. 1.6 now to find on Martinius Stenshorn, as he now sets another fastest lap as well. Martinius Stenshorn absolutely hellacious. We have got word that the incident will be investigated between 29.11 at turn 9. So there we are. Cars number 29. That of course belonging to Enzo Scianti. And car number 11, of course, going to be joining him as well, and that's Levente Ravesh. Remember, he went off into the gravel trap, so that will be looked at after the race. As Stenshorn still is out in front. Andrea Kimi, Antonelli in second place. 1.6 still the gap now, as we see the cars come together. Heading through now this next right-hander now. Maya Verk, who we can currently see just charging after that of Kaz Havercourt. Fantastic season. We alluded to, obviously, to her successes recently, representing that of Kick, and has been very accomplished as well in the rookie classification. We're looking to try and gain that ever a little bit more, certainly to add to her locker. Has competed in Italian F4 and ADAC F4 back in 2021 and 2022. And also a WSK Final Cup winner in karts back in 2016 as well. So very accomplished in terms of what she's done in motorsport. As we now see the cars now make their way through again, as we now see the Prema, but to get itself tied up. That's Lorenzo Fluscio trying to charge after Maya Verk as well. You see them make their way through the next hairpin bend and down the long straight once again, coming out of San Donato. and they'll then head down through towards the Bucine corner as well. We're heading out of Bucine in towards San Donato at turn 1, I should say. There is Tramnitz, as we see Stenshorn once again looking to push. The gap's still stagnant between Stenshorn and Antonelli at 1.6 seconds. Tramnitz in behind as well, just watching it all unfold, but can't rest on his laurels because Kaz Havercourt is right behind him here. Plenty more laps of racing still to go, just over 20 minutes plus 1 lap, of course, folks. So drivers will look to add, and it might be that Stenshorn has just utilised this push to pass to try and build the gap. And it might be that Antonelli is just trying to be a little bit more tactical with his usage, as we see Rafael Camara go ahead of Roman Belinsky as well. That's a swap for 8th place. And further back as well, the 2 RPM cars coming together. That, of course, being Maceo Capietto and Santiago Ramos. And heading down now, and certainly the cars that are currently sat 10 and 11th. Capietto now overtaking his teammate into the top 10. Ramos, who was fastest on Thursday morning's test, faster than that of Martinius Stenshorn and Tim Tramnitz, who had finished 3rd in that one as well. And, heading down once again over the crest, down the hill, as they look to head through in towards Sector 3, and they'll whip through this next week sequence of curves through the Pelagio and also the Ondetti one, and then in the Corrento corner, then tee him out of Ondetti 2 into the Bucine, which they're about to take now. There you can see once again the cars coming together. Maya Verk still trying to keep Camara at, or certainly keep Flusha away. Camara now, who's not far away from his teammate, might have an opportunity here, as we now see Flusha look to try and dial in on Maya Verk, who's got to try now and defend against the approach of the Prema, but it's going to be a little bit too much to deal with, and certainly straight away jumping up ahead is Lorenzo Flusha, and he moves up into 6th. A great move certainly from him, heading down the long straight in towards turn 1, and Maya Verk will have to try and recover and challenge again in the 18 minutes and 50 still to go, plus the 1 lap, as they now head down the hill once again through towards turn 6 and turn 7, where they'll once again meet a sequence of different corners coming out of the Materazzi, as well as Borgo San Lorenzo. Casanova coming up after that as well. As we take a look and see them head their way through. See the Trident there keeping the 2 RPMs at bay. That, of course, being Roman Belinsky. Another fastest lap for Martinius Stenshorn, who is on an absolute charge. He's still continuing to lay down a foundation here. See, off the back of achieving such a good qualifying performance to once again nab yet another pole position. 3rd pole position of the season for Stenshorn. RSGP currently holding on to 6 of them at the front end, with Tramnitz taking the other one. As we see Belinsky now creep and peep his way through this next straight. He's got Capietto for company, Ramos in behind as well. 2 RPMs together. As the Trident looks to try and close the gap on the cars that are in front of him. That, of course, being Maya Verk, who has now got yet another Prema on her tail. This time it's Rafael Camara. And the gap is closer between that of Camara and Verk than it was between Verk and that of Lorenzo Flusha as well. And a big chance here with a use of push to pass perhaps as well for that of Rafael Camara. Of course, a winner last time out when we went racing in round 4, and he's managed to once again jump up ahead of Maya Verk, so yet another result for Prema. And down the inside, and a lock-up as well, as Maceo Capietto looks to make a move on Roman Belinsky and has pulled it off as well. Belinsky is going to have to come back at a charge and see if he can get the place back. As we see as well on our screen, Joshua Dirksen, who's trying to gain ground on Kirill Small, who's having a decent race too. And will try and pull himself into the points if at all possible. As we now see the cars now stretch down through towards the double right-hander at the Arrabbiata 1. They've got Arrabbiata 2 as well coming up very shortly. Just a sloping double right. You know, see the Prema now jettison up the hill. That, of course, being Rafael Camara after his teammate Lorenzo Flusha. Both, of course, dispatching Maya Verk, who still holds on to the 2nd placing in the rookie classification, just in behind Martinius Stenshorn, who is, of course, leading the overall charge right now. There he is on your screen, folks, and holds the lead at 1.7 seconds. As they now look to head through towards the next left. Tramnitz in third as well. The Kaz Havercourt in behind those. Van Amersfoort currently sat in 4th and 5th place. Big bump load of points going towards them if they can bring this one home. Tended to do well at tracks that are more technical, and certainly Hungaroring being one of their main opportune moments to strike. Obviously they did that with Havercourt last season as well, as Antonelli starts to really regain the time back in. 3/10 already gained on his previous lap, so he's now starting to go to work here. Let's see if he can bring the gap down in between him and Stenshorn. Still 1.5 seconds between the pair, but remember that gap was 1.7. So he is starting to find a little bit now, is Antonelli. So once again, we see the cars come over the crest once again. And there's Meyer Werk as well. You can see there the RPM cars. Oh, there's a car off as well, and that is Kirill Smal as well, representing the Monolite team, and that'll be very disappointing for them. He's been one of their standouts this season so far, and is now in the gravel trap. And unfortunately, he might be stuck there. It looks like he might be out of the race. I haven't seen the car moving out since he was in there, and now he's going to have to try and recover, and a safety car has been deployed by race control, which is good news if you're Andrea Kimi Antonelli, because it does bring the gap back in as we now see them. Oh, it's collision with Joshua Dirksen, the Paraguayan, just meeting that of Kirill Smal. Yarden just coming into close proximity. Oh, was coming side by side through that very tight section is difficult enough as it is, and unfortunately for Kirill Smal, he's stagnant off into the gravel trap, and that will bring an end to his race. You do have to wonder as well, there might have been damage on the car belonging to that of Joshua Dirksen as well. Obviously never ideal. And, naturally now under safety car conditions, the cars will be back into proximity as we see Kirill Smal walking away. Could have been a huge opportunity for them this weekend to score some very, very good points, but unfortunately for Smal, that's the end of his race today. And the cars now fall back into alignment in behind that of the safety car. So it's Stenshorn who leads, Antonelli in second, Tim Tramnitz in third, Kaz Havercourt down in fourth as well, Joshua Dufek still remains in 5th place, Lorenzo Flucher and Rafael Camara 6th and 7th, Meyer Werk as well down in 8th, and Maceo Capietto in 9th as well. And Ramos lines up in 10th place, so 2 RPMs now in the top 10. Roman Belinsky in 11th as well, who's going to be fighting for all the points he can muster. Very tenacious young man who has done well in the past as well, representing Trident to the fullest, and for the 2nd year running, after his debut season in Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine last season. Was twice a pole sitter in Ginetta Juniors back in 2019, and 3 times a race winner in GB3 back in 2021, and 7 podiums to boot, and scored a podium back in Hungary last season as well with the Formula Regional, and will certainly look to try and give something else to his team this weekend, and a strong showing for race 1 will certainly give them the buoyancy that they're looking for. But cars now making their way up the hill as they climb up through out of the Arrabbiata 1 and 2 into the Scarpera, as we now see the Monolite car being taken away by the machinery on track. The marshals doing a splendid job, as they always do, and we credit them highly. And Martinia Stenshorn now bringing the cars in close proximity behind the safety car now. 12 minutes still to go, plus the 1 lap that we still have to remain. And Antonelli is going to look to take full advantage of the opportunity to try and bring himself into the fight against that of Martinia Stenshorn. Coming into the weekend, 5 points separating them heading into this race weekend. Tim Tramnitz in third as well, 98 points to his name in behind Antonelli in the championship. Kaz Havercourt 76 with a little bit to find, but still there in the top 4, ahead of Rafael Camara and Lorenzo Flucher, with Maceo Capietto in 7th as well. Santiago Ramos 8th in the standing. Sami Megatunif, of course, representing his team up there in the top 10, just in behind that of Joshua Dufek. But obviously, unfortunately, MP Motorsport not with us this weekend, out of respect for Delano, as we can all appreciate. It's a special weekend indeed, certainly for, as we pay homage the drivers giving a great account for themselves as well, racing for Delano this weekend. As we see them make their way through this next straight. There's Joshua Dirksen. He's going to look to try and lift himself off the back of the incident with Kirill Smol. Put his best head forward and try and challenge back for the places that he's looking for. He's got to chase after Owen Tangavelu in that 13th spot. And we've got Giusti just in front, currently sits third in the rookie standings, currently sat 12th overall as well. As we see Martinius Stenshorn get the tyres warm here at this point, heading down now towards the next right. Again, they take the dip in towards turn 7 and turn 8. And then they'll make the climb through the Arrabbiata section, coming out of Cervelli and Casanova. And then up the incline as well as they make their way towards the Scarpira. 9 minutes and 50, we've broken into the final 10. The car's now jettisoned in. The safety car is confirmed to be back in on this lap. So we will see approximately 8.5 minutes, maybe 8 minutes of racing still to go, plus the 1 lap as well. As it will be down to Martinius Stenshorn to get them back underway. As they head down now in towards the next straight. There you see the 2 RPMs as well. Obviously it's a case of time management at this point, try and maintain the grip levels in the compound. Of course, the Pirelli tyres that are part of this season, as they always are. As we see Stenshorn now getting set to go racing. Antonelli in behind as well, but he's got an R-race sandwich because Stenshorn still leads. You see him behind Tim Tramnitz as well, just getting in that last little bit of tyre warming up to speed. They'll head through towards the corner at Bucine with Havercourt as well in behind. This also brings a great opportunity to the likes of Van Amersfoort, who will be looking to try and charge and garner some extra points as well. As we now see Stenshorn now out of the final corner at turn 15. And he'll prime and get the cars ready to go. Once again, Antonelli right on his rear wing as well, almost pushing him down the long straight. And it's all down to Stenshorn here, who still hasn't pulled the plug just yet. He is still waiting, green flags being waved, and it's all on Stenshorn, who is still warming up the tyres. He's not ready to go yet. Just look at the amount of cars that are bunched up in behind as well. A fascinating moment, but we go and put pedal to the metal for the second time in this race, and Stenshorn still with the lead advantage. The 2 Premers going side by side as well, heading down through towards turn 1. That's Kamara and Flusha further back as well as they head down now towards that first corner. You see that RPM also with cars side by side as they hurtle through towards turn 1, heading out towards turn 2, heading out now of San Donato in towards Lusso as well. And there you see them once again, certainly Antonelli managing to hold on to that second place. Still the Premers are battling with each other. There is Dirksen as well. A car has gone off into the gravel trap. Not quite sure who that is, just overextending on the exit of turn 2 into turn 3, as we're now seeing Stenshorn now making his way out, still leads with Antonelli in second place, Tim Tramnitz in third as well. Further back has Havercourt, Josh Dufek in behind. Just look at that, the RPMs also looking to make a charge as we see them come together still. Meyer Verk still down in 9th place. Giusti managed to get up into the top 10. I think it was Ramos who incidentally lost places and he's down to 12, so I think he might have been the one that ventured into the gravel trap and therefore losing out that little bit of time that has cost him quite a few places. Belinsky has gone ahead of him as well for that 11th place. Meyer Verk now down to 9th as well. Capietto up into 8th, as I said. Flusha in 7th. Kamara holding on to that 6th spot as well, just in behind that of Joshua Dufek, as we see once again cars come together. The RPM still looking to rise as he now looks to challenge Roman Belinsky, who's holding on to that 11th place. As we now see the cars launch their way forward. Kamara managing to battle back. You see that 5 places gained already from the restart, and obviously making his way through the race as we're now seeing them once again come toe-to-toe. Lorenzo Flusha now under pressure from Matteo Capietto and RPM, the Irish team who are back and obviously racing with thoughts pressed out on Adam Fitzgerald as well. Young man who I'm sure will be back with us very, very soon, and he too missed this weekend as well, as we see the cars make their way down through towards turn 1. Tangavelu as well making his way through, and does rain around the outside as he looks to try and charge. We're seeing now them come together. Fantastic move there from Matteo Capietto on Lorenzo Flusha. Tried to make it work, but just could not quite detonate the overtake. And it is still Flucher holding on to 7th place from Kamara ahead of him. Capietto asking all the right questions. The car running off wide in the distance. That's an Arden further back. Now, who is that one? Is that Tom Leben? Not quite sure. It's car number 11, should I say. So it's not Tom Leben. It is, in fact, belonging to Levente Ravesh, who takes the second tumble into the gravel trap. And you see the cars now rise up through the next right-hander once again. It's Roman Belinsky, who we're currently seeing in shot. So they now peel through the double right-hander, heading out of Arrabbiata 1 through Arrabbiata 2. Now, this is the moment when they came together. That's the Santalot car. There goes Levente. It's the second time, almost a carbon copy of what happened earlier on, only this time Ravesh on the inside tried to make the move happen. Unfortunately now, running off into the gravel trap and heading through now towards this next left-hander as well, as we see the cars now pile on through. Lorenzo Flucher, there's Capietto as well, who's looked to try and raise himself up the order. Currently position 8 in the top 10 with Maya Verk in behind as well. Giusti in 10th place, making up P3 in the rookie classification as they march a charge down the straight. There's Josh Dufek, who's currently sat in 5th place. Kamara in behind as well. I currently see them out on screen as we now see some more side-by-side action. Maya Verk once again under pressure because in comes Alessandro Giusti. Now that's for P2 in the rookie classification as well, and a switchback again from Giusti. Once again, looks to try and attack here as they come through the semi-chicane of sorts, peeling through the next right, and there is Levente Ravesh coming into the pit lane. Now remember, he of course was staggered out in the gravel trap earlier on, and has unfortunately come into box. Now, is that a terminal issue? It looks like it might be. They're just checking the suspension, just to make sure there's no serious damage, but certainly does beg the question. They might retire the car just to get it ready for race 2, which of course will be with us tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. We will of course have another qualifying session for you as well for that. Qualifying 2 beginning at 8:30 local time, which will kickstart with Group B going out first as well. Race 2 then coming in tomorrow afternoon at 4:25 local time in the afternoon, as well as we now see the Van Amersfoort car make its way down through towards the next right, belonging to Kaz Havercourt as he gives chase on to Tim Tramnitz. There's Josh Dufek as well in behind his teammate Kaz Havercourt, currently sat in 5th, but has Kamara breathing down his neck ever so slightly. As we see the cars now rise up the incline now, heading towards the final corner of Bucine, heading out of turn 15, and heading down the home straight once again. And just look at this again, Stenshorn advancing his lead out by 1.1 seconds still. He's managed to still maintain the gap, despite the safety car. Has brought himself right back outwards again, but Antonelli still managing to marshal the gap himself of near enough 3 seconds on that of Tim Tramnitz. He's really putting in the work. Has Havercourt in behind as well. Obviously that's off the lead, the 3 seconds, so approximately 2 seconds separating out of Tramnitz and Antonelli, and still no movement there from Levente Ravesh, who is still in the pits. As we now see the cars becking their way down through towards the next left-hander. Again, just racing the curves as they make their way through the next segment. Coming through Materazzi as well as Borgo San Lorenzo. And heading down towards the Arrabbiata out of Casanova and Cervelli. Towards this next right-hander now. Arrabbiata 2 is next on their list. Stenshorn still with the advantage, 1.3 seconds separating between him and Andrea Kimi Antonelli, with Tramnitz there in behind in 3rd place. 6/10 between Havercourt and Tramnitz now, so that could be a battle for the podium place overall, and of course Havercourt would like to take that certainly off his hands at this point. Well, stepping into the weekend, Kaz Havercourt 3 podiums already this season, including 1 race win. Would love to taste the top step once again, I am sure. As the Dutchman goes to work here, as we see him behind as well. More cars coming into the mix too. Of course, we're seeing there Matteo Capietto as well, currently stagnant in behind that of Lorenzo Flucher, who in turn is behind that of Rafael Kamara as well. Stenshorn now crosses the line yet again. 1 minute still to go, plus 12 seconds, plus 1 lap as well, as we see now Tramnitz head down through towards turn 1 yet again. There's Havercourt just in behind again, marshalling that gap. Still 6/10 between them, but that could come cascading down. Just look at Stenshorn, fastest lap once again, and it's really given a fantastic, fascinating display here in this race. The rookie who comes in this season and has really brought his team to the forefront as well. What an exciting talent this young man is. 2022 F4 UAE, scoring 1 podium that season, but did manage to net 2 podiums in Italian F4 last season as well. Of course, he would have met Andrea Kimi Antonelli back then too. It's certainly no stranger to big results, but currently leading the championship, and looks dead set as long as he can bring it home to secure yet another race win this season. It's Josh Dufek now. It's through the next straight up the incline now, through turns 10 and 11 as well. Heading through the Scarperia, as well as Pelagio in towards the Corrento corner, and then in towards the Bondetti 1 and 2. You can see Kamara there as well in behind that of Josh Dufek as he looks to try and usurp him for that P5 place. There you see as well, just look at the fight starting to erupt here now. It could be the case that Kamara might get Dufek very late. The gap starting to really come down. Antonelli and his gap between him and Stenshorn currently sits at 1.7, so Stenshorn managing, with the use of that fastest lap, managing to marshal yet another 2 tenths on the board, as well as the final lap now is in question. As we now see further back as well, some weaving going on. I think looking back at that might have been Josh Dufek and Kaz Havercourt who are looking to try and break away from Rafael Kamara and his Bremer right now, but still Stenshorn, who has been an absolute sensation this season, once again delivering. And it is the 2 drivers coming into Freca for the first time this season that have certainly been the story and have really garnered some very special results. Tim Tramnitz, who was here last season as well, driving for the Trident team, moved across to R-Race GP this season after a sensational series and string of results. And returns here, this time to Mugello, looking to once again bring his car to the forefront still. And has certainly shown that, but Stenshorn has certainly given absolutely everything. Has marshalled out an extraordinary gap of 1.7 seconds. We see some more side-by-side action. There's a Trident that's going off there as well. And the car number 9 is Charlie Wirtz, who returns here this weekend, just dipping into the gravel with the rear left, as we now see Stenshorn head through, down through towards turn 12 for the final time in this final sector here in race 1 as well. Antonelli in second place, just can't quite catch him. 1.7 is the gap as they make their way down through towards the final portions of this circuit, coming out of Biondetti 1 and Biondetti 2. The Bucine corner comes up next, and Martinius Stenshorn, who went fastest in free practice 1 and free practice 2, followed it up with a stellar qualifying. He's now going to make his way up towards the line and take victory here in race 1 here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. The first race in the Mugello weekend here in round 5. Andrea Kimi Antonelli in second, Tim Tramnitz in third place, Kaz Havercourt in fourth as well, with Josh Dufek in fifth. That's a 4th and 5th for the Van Amersfoort team, with Kamara and Flusha 6th and 7th respectfully for Bremer. Maya Burke managing to hold on, I believe, as according to my screen, managing to hold on to 9th place as well, ahead of that of Alessandra Giusti. She retains P2 in the rookie classification. Roman Belinsky home in 11th as well. But it's Martinius Stenshorn, the race winner for the first race here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. And certainly now Antonelli is going to try and bring his best again tomorrow to try and challenge that of Stenshorn up at the very top. Tramnitz as well coming home in third. Another podium going to him as well. But that is a sensational result for Stenshorn, who has really put in a lot of brilliant work. Of course, it's very rare that we see in a qualifying session the first group get the fastest lap overall, as the following group, Group B, would have obviously benefited off the track being preheated to a certain degree. But Stenshorn, despite that challenge, still took pole position and converted it into a superb race win as well. And a fantastic display. And will surely be looking to follow it up with another successful visit tomorrow, but not forgetting his teammate in third place. Huge points going to that of R-Race GP and they'll build on it. Here's your results, folks. Martini Stenshorn, your winner. Andrea Kimi Antonelli in second. Tim Tramnitz in third. Kaz Havercourt in fourth place, with Joshua Dufek in fifth. Rafael Camara in sixth, with Lorenzo Flusha in seventh. Matteo Capietto in eighth, with Maya Verk as well in ninth, with Alessandro Giusti in 10th place. 11th place goes to that of Roman Belinsky as well. Santiago Ramos finishing in that 12th spot. Owen Tangavelu came across the line in 13th, with Joshua Dirksen, who came together earlier on with Kirill Small. He finished 14th place, with Michael Belov in 15th as well. Lawrence Van Hoopen coming across the line in 16th, with Nikhil Bora in 17th. Charlie Wirtz would come home in 18th place, with Marcus Amand in 19th, and Matthias Sagazetta finishing in 20th place. Tom Leben would, of course, finish in 21st as well. Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. in 22nd. Konsta Lapalainen in 23rd, with Niels Kuhlen in 24th. Enzo Scionti in 25th, with Lucas Medina in 26th place. Giovanni Vaschio, last of the running cars, in 27th. And two retirements, Levente Ravesh and Kirill Small, who had to pull up. Small, of course, venturing into the gravel trap earlier on, and Ravesh coming in after the two collisions that he had and the two trips into the gravel, eventually coming into the pits where the team were checking over the car. But Martini Stenshorn will be absolutely thrilled with that result. A fantastic victory on a day of poignancy, no doubt. The drivers, of course, all racing for Delano this weekend. And credit to Andrea Kimi Antonelli as well, gave a good performance. It's another good result, it's another podium going to that of the Prema team. Just listening in there, and certainly two R-Race GP cars up at the very top as well. A fabulous effort by both drivers. Tim Tramnitz finishing in that third place. Fantastic though for Martini Stenshorn, racking together another fantastic win. And 6 podiums and a 4th race win for Martini Stenshorn. But where can it go from here? Obviously, the story is still that of R-Race and Prema. Who's going to come out on top in this affair between two great teams in this championship? That's the big question. If you take a look at the highlights as well from the start of the race, it certainly was a great Stenshorn start. Got himself off the line very quickly. Andrea Kimi Antonelli tried to cover off Tim Tramnitz in behind as well. Remember, those two coming together quite frequently when we went racing at Barcelona. It was a fantastic start, though, for Kaz Havercourt, who looked around the outside and had every chance of taking the outside line and scooping up a P2. Just could not quite follow the traction. A little tail whip heading out of turns 1 and 2. And it led, of course, to him losing out on what could have been a sensational P2. He was put up to task by that of the Kick Motorsport cars in behind as well. But Stenshorn would advance the gap. A stellar run, certainly from his get-go, putting out an advantage of well over 1.5 seconds to that of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. And all the cars were there fighting for positions. Levente Ravesh having an unfortunate moment, venturing into the gravel trap as they made their way through over the crest. And unfortunately, it did cost him a lot of time, eventually falling foul to that. Andrea Kimi Antonelli would still continue to prosaically try and rein the gap in. Wasn't quite able to do so. Another trip out into the gravel trap, this time by the Trident cars, as it made its way through the race, forfeiting another couple of places as well. But it would certainly be Maya Verk, who once again pulled off a stellar display in qualifying. Just wasn't quite able to prevent the onslaught, though, from the Prema cars. Rafael Camara getting himself into the mix, as well as Lorenzo Flusha, who would look to garner places themselves. Maya Verk, though, able to hold on to that advantage. It was unfortunate, though, for Kirill Small, who would come together with that of Joshua Dirksen and end up in the gravel trap. Stenshorn would get us back underway after the safety car that was caused by Kirill Small's incident, and certainly back heading down through towards turn 1, it would still be Stenshorn who led. Levente Ravesh made contact with the Santalot car as it made its way through towards the next straight. Unfortunately, unable to recover from that one, came into the pits, but it would be Martini Stenshorn who would take the race win here at Mugello. He wins here at Tuscany for the first time this weekend, and another great result. So there's Tim Tramnitz, stood on 3rd place in the podium. Andrea Kimi Antonelli joins him in 2nd. Martini Stenshorn will join them, making it a 2R race driver in the top 3. And representative from the team as well, stepping up onto the podium. No doubt team boss Thibaut will be absolutely thrilled. And the trophy's being presented to the drivers. First of all, to Tim Tramnitz, who takes the third place podium trophy. And Andrea Kimi Antonelli takes the second place trophy. Stellar running from himself as well. Martini Stenshorn picking up the winning trophy. A feeling that I'm sure he's oh so used to. And to the team of RSGP, the winning team trophy, and they will lift that one aloft. And to the winning rookie as well, Martini Stenshorn, double-armed here this time around, winning rookie and winning overall.
And now he's
your race winner confirmed as well. Tim Tramnitz in third with Antonelli in second place. That wraps up race one here today, folks. You'll join us tomorrow when we go to qualifying tomorrow and ready for the race two tomorrow as well. We'll see you then. Take care. Goodbye.